Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Digital India empowered people by making technology more accessible, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Launches Digital India Bhashini to provide easy access to internet and digital services in Indian languages. Prime Minister unveils bronze statue of freedom fighter Alluri Sitaram Raju on his 125th birth anniversary celebrations in Andhra Pradesh. Says tribal art and skills getting new identity through Skill India mission. Home Minister Amit Shah says despite challenges, the cooperative movement in the nation went from strength to strength. Notification for filing the nomination for 16th Vice Presidential election to be issued tomorrow. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde assures Legislative Assembly to reduce value-added tax on fuel. India becomes third largest startup ecosystem in the world within a span of 6 years, says Union Minister Piyush Goyal. Government hands over Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited to Tata Steel Long Products Limited. India's merchandise exports rise by 16.8% to USD $37.9 billion in last month. In the women's cricket, India trounced Sri Lanka by 10 wickets in second match of three-match ODI series at Pallekele. And in men's cricket, India sets a target of 378 for England in final game of five-match test series at Edgbaston in Birmingham. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India is guiding the world in the fourth industrial revolution. He said that the country which does not adopt modern technology with the passage of time, the time moves ahead leaving it behind. He said that India was a victim of this during the third industrial revolution, but today we can proudly say that India is guiding the world in the fourth industrial revolution. Prime Minister Modi was addressing the program after inaugurating the Digital India Week 2022 at Mahatma Mandir in Gandhinagar this evening. He said that India has set an example of how revolutionary the use of technology is for the entire humanity in the form of Digital India campaign. He expressed happiness that the campaign launched 8 years ago has been expanding itself with the changing times. Mr. Modi said that we had to remain in line for taking birth certificates, paying bills, getting ration or taking admission, etc. just 10 years back, but now everything is online.
जो हमारी युवा पीढ़ी है, जिसका जन्म 21वीं सदी में हुआ है, उनके लिए तो आज डिजिटल लाइफ बहुत कूल लगती है, फैशन स्टेटमेंट लगता है उनको। लेकिन सिर्फ 8-10 साल पहले की स्थितियों को याद कीजिए। बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट लेने के लिए लाइन, बिल जमा करना है तो लाइन, राशन के लिए लाइन, एडमिशन के लिए लाइन, रिजल्ट और सर्टिफिकेट के लिए भी लाइन, बैंकों में लाइन। इतनी सारी लाइनों का समाधान भारत ने ऑनलाइन होकर कर दिया।
He said that more than 23 lakh crore rupees have been transferred directly to the bank accounts of the beneficiaries in the last 8 years. He said 2,23,000 crore rupees of the country have been saved from falling into the wrong hands due to this technology.
जो पारदर्शिता इससे आई, उसने गरीब और मध्यम वर्ग को अनेक स्तरों पर चलने वाले भ्रष्टाचार से मुक्ति दी है। हमने वो समय देखा है जब बिना घूस दिए कोई भी सुविधा लेना मुश्किल था। डिजिटल इंडिया ने सामान्य परिवार का ये पैसा भी बचाया है। डिजिटल इंडिया बिचौलियों के नेटवर्क को भी समाप्त कर रहा है। डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर के माध्यम से बीते 8 साल में 23 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक सीधे लाभार्थियों के बैंक खाते में भेजे गए हैं। इस टेक्नोलॉजी की वजह से देश के 2,23,000 करोड़ रुपए जो गलत हाथ में जाते थे वो बच गए हैं।
He said that the world's largest and most efficient COVID vaccination and COVID relief programs run on a digital platform. The Prime Minister said, with the help of One Nation, One Ration card, we have ensured free ration to more than 80 crore countrymen. Mr. Modi emphasized that the power of Digital India has helped the country immensely in combating the corona pandemic. Mr. Modi said the FinTech's endeavour in India is truly a solution by the people, of the people, for the people. He said India is going to expand the future of digital technology in many sectors, including space, mapping, drones, gaming and animation. He added provisions like in-space and new drone policy will give new energy to India's tech potential in the coming years. Prime Minister Modi said that India is working on the target of taking electronics manufacturing to more than $300 billion in the next 3 to 4 years. He said that India wants to become a chip maker from a chip taker. He said that rapidly increasing investment will increase the production of semiconductors. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, Union Minister of Communications, Electronics and Information Technology and Railways, Ashwini Vaishnaw, and Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, also spoke on this occasion. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that digital payment in India accounts for 40% of the world digital transactions. In a tweet today, the Finance Minister lauded the Digital India initiative. She said the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has worked towards strengthening the digital banking and payments ecosystem across the country in the last 8 years.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today unveiled a bronze statue of freedom fighter Alluri Sitaraman Raju at a special program on his 125th birth anniversary celebrations in Bhimavaram, Andhra Pradesh. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Modi said, alongside the Amrit Mahotsav of 75 years of independence, the country is celebrating 125th anniversary of Alluri Sitarama Raju. He said Rampa Kranti for the country's independence has also completed 100 years. Paying tributes to Sitarama Raju, Mr. Modi said his indomitable courage inspires every Indian.
Alluri Sitaram Raju Garu, भारत की सांस्कृतिक और आदिवासी पहचान, भारत के शौर्य, भारत के आदर्शों और मूल्यों के प्रतीक है। सीताराम राजू गारू एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत की उस विचारधारा के प्रतीक हैं जो हजारों साल से इस देश को एक सूत्र में जोड़ती आई है।
The Prime Minister said New India should be an India of the dreams of fighters who gave their lives for our freedom.
रंपा क्रांति में भाग लेने वाले भी कितने ही नौजवानों ने ऐसी ही आयु में देश की आजादी के लिए लड़ाई लड़ी। स्वाधीनता संग्राम के युवा वीर वीरांगनाएं आज अमृत काल में हमारे देश के लिए ऊर्जा और प्रेरणा के स्रोत है।
The Prime Minister said tribal art and skills are getting a new identity through the Skill India mission. Vocal for Local is making tribal art skills a means of income, he added. Decades-old laws which prevented tribal people from cutting forest produce like bamboo, we changed them and gave them rights on forest produce, said Mr. Modi. Similarly, the number of forest products for MSP procurement increased from 12 to more than 90.
आज वन उत्पादों को प्रमोट करने के लिए सरकार अनेक नए प्रयास कर रही है। एमएसपी की खरीद लिस्ट में करीब 90 प्रोडक्ट वन उपज के रूप में शामिल किया गया है। देश ने वन धन योजना के जरिए वन संपदा को आधुनिक अवसरों से जोड़ने का काम भी शुरू किया है। देश में 3000 से अधिक वन धन विकास केंद्रों के साथ ही 50,000 से ज्यादा वन धन सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप भी काम कर रहे हैं।
Aspirational district schemes will greatly benefit tribal districts and the education front. More than 750 Eklavya model schools are being established and education in mother tongue is being promoted under national education policy. Mr. Modi said for the first time since independence, tribal museums are being set up to showcase the tribal pride and heritage in the country. The Prime Minister mentioned in the past 8 years, we have worked with full devotion, walking on the principles of Alluri Sitarama Raju towards the welfare of tribals. Andhra Pradesh Governor Bispabhushan Harish Chandan Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy and Union Culture Tourism Minister G. Kishan Reddy were also present on the occasion. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu also paid tributes to the legendary freedom fighter on his birth anniversary. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said, known for his boundless courage, Alluri led the Rampa rebellion in which he galvanized the tribals to fight against the injustices of the British. The Vice President said his indomitable spirit and unconditional love for the motherland continue to inspire every Indian. Home Minister Amit Shah has today said that the cooperatives in India have done remarkable work in the last 100 years. Addressing a program to mark the 100th International Day of Cooperatives in New Delhi, Mr. Shah urged all cooperators to resolve to do even better in the coming 100 years. He added that many faults may be found in the 100 years which have gone by. He expressed pride that despite challenges, the cooperative movement in the nation went from strength to strength.
हमारी संस्कृति का प्राण तत्व ही सहकारिता है और भारत ने पूरी दुनिया को सहकारिता को आगे बढ़ाने का, सहकारिता के विचार को देने का काम किया है. हमारे यहाँ भी लगभग 125 साल पुराना सहकारिता का इतिहास है. मित्रों, 30 लाख सहकारी समितियां दुनिया में और कई सारे देश उसमें से अपने जीडीपी का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा प्राप्त. भारत में भी 8,55,000 सहकारी समितियां बनी और भारत की लगभग 12 करोड़ की आबादी सीधी इससे आर्थिक जीवन यापन कर पाए. इस प्रकार से हमने ये मॉडल को खड़ा किया है. देश के 51% गांवों में कोई न कोई सहकारी समिति आज अस्तित्व मना रही.
Mr. Shah said that he would like to congratulate the Prime Minister for creating the Cooperation Ministry and giving new life to the cooperative movement in India. The theme of the 100th International Cooperative Day is Cooperatives Build a Better World.
Notification for filing the nomination for the 16th Vice Presidential election will be issued tomorrow. Nomination can be filed till the 19th of this month. Vice Presidential election will be held on the 6th of next month. The Vice President is elected by the members of the Electoral College, consisting of the members of both the Houses of Parliament. For the 16th Vice Presidential election, the Electoral College consists of 233 elected members and 12 nominated members of Rajya Sabha and 543 elected members of Lok Sabha. The Electoral College comprises of a total of 788 members of both the Houses of Parliament. The term of Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu is ending on the 10th of next month. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde today assured the Legislative Assembly that the value-added tax on fuel will be soon reduced. Replying to a congratulatory motion in the Legislative Assembly, he also announced 21 crore rupees for the development of Hirkani village in Raigad district. He also stressed that he would make the state free of farmers' suicide. After winning the trust vote, Mr. Shinde assured that instead of indulging in political vendetta, he would work for the overall development of the state. He said a faction led by him and the Bharatiya Janata Party will win 200 seats in the next assembly polls in the state in 2024.
Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said that India has become the third largest startup ecosystem in the world within a span of 6 years. He said the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has acted as a catalyst for startups rather than a controller. The minister today released the results of the third edition of Ranking of States Exercise 2021 on support to startup ecosystems in New Delhi. In the third edition of Ranking of States Exercise 2021, Gujarat and Karnataka emerged as the best performers in a category of states. Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan today launched the Open Language Learning Resources OLLRs in 5 languages at the English and Foreign Languages University EFLU in Hyderabad today. The university developed the tools to learn 5 languages easily and free of cost from anywhere. The OLLRs launched today include Chinese, French, German, Japanese and Spanish. Speaking on the occasion, the minister asked EFLU to create an ecosystem for learning languages for those who are coming to India too.
In the 5 global languages, IFLU is going to give digital education. German, French, Spanish, Chinese and Japanese. because everybody is eyeing the Indian market. The way language is going to be an instrument of transformative pathway, simultaneously economic empowerment is another important area. To give economic empowerment to our citizens especially youngsters, must be multilingual.
In Odisha, the Department of Investment and Public Asset Management, DIPAM, today completed the strategic disinvestment process of the Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited, NINL. The disinvestment transaction was completed today with the transfer of 93.7% shares of the joint venture partners, namely MMTC, NMDC, BHEL, MECON, all 4 central public sector enterprises and 2 PSUs of Government of Odisha, namely OMC and IPICOL, to the strategic buyer Tata Steel Long Products Limited at an enterprise value of 12,100 crore rupees. Our correspondent reports that NINL is the second successful privatization by the current government. Incidentally, Air India, the first company on the privatization list, too, was bought by Tata Group.
Briefing media in capital Bhubaneswar soon after a meeting with the stakeholders, Tuhin Pandey, Secretary DIPAM, said that with the completion of the disinvestment process, the ownership of the loss-making Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited has been transferred to the Tata Steel Long Products Limited. He said the NINL, whose net worth was in the negative to the tune of more than 3,500 crore rupees and which was non-functional for over 2 years, will now be owned by the Tata Steel, thereby aiding to the steel production in the country. He said the company, which was producing less than 1 billion ton of steel before it was defunct, is expected to ramp up its production capacity to 5 million tons in the next 3 to 4 years and further up to 10 million tons by 2030. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Country's merchandise export registered a growth of 16.8% in the last month over the corresponding period of previous year. India's merchandise exports has reached to $37.9 billion in June this year, which was $32.49 billion in June last year. Merchandise export was led by a robust growth in petroleum products, electronic goods and ready-made textiles. More than 187 lakh tons of wheat have been procured so far in the current Rabi marketing season 2022-23. Procurement of wheat has benefited 17,85,000 farmers with minimum support price or MSP value of over 37,859 crore rupees. The Consumer Affairs Ministry said maximum number of wheat has been procured in Punjab, followed by Madhya Pradesh, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. The ministry said paddy procurement is progressing smoothly in Kharif marketing season 2021-22. Over 863 lakh metric tons of paddy have been procured so far in the country. Procurement of paddy has benefited 1 crore 25 lakh farmers, benefited with minimum support price value of over 1 lakh 69,000 crore rupees.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Digital India empowered people by making technology more accessible, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi, launches Digital India Bhashini to provide easy access to internet and digital services in Indian languages. Prime Minister unveils bronze statue of freedom fighter Alluri Sitarama Raju on his 125th birth anniversary celebrations in Andhra Pradesh, says tribal art and skills getting new identity through Skill India mission. Home Minister Amit Shah says, despite challenges, the cooperative movement in the nation went from strength to strength. Notification for filing the nomination for 16th Vice Presidential election to be issued tomorrow. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde assures Legislative Assembly to reduce value-added tax on fuel. India becomes third largest startup ecosystem in the world within a span of 6 years, says Union Minister Piyush Goyal. Government hands over Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited to Tata Steel Long Products Limited. India's merchandise export rise by 16.8% to USD 37.9 billion in last month. In the women's cricket, India trounced Sri Lanka by 10 wickets in second match of 3-match ODI series at Pallikele, and in men's cricket, India sets target of 378 for England in final game of 5-match test series at Edgbaston in Birmingham. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
कॉम्पिटिशन्स की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी, तो आपके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो लाया है कार्यक्रम अभ्यास। एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछते हैं सवाल 9289094044 पर, या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर, जिसके जवाब एक्सपर्ट देंगे शनिवार रात 9:30 बजे। इस बार का विषय है ज्योग्राफी यानी कि भूगोल, और प्रश्न भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 6 जुलाई। आपके सवालों का हम कर रहे इंतजार। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
Welcome back to the evening news on All India Radio. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Varanasi on the 7th of this month. During his visit, the Prime Minister will inaugurate and lay foundation stone of multiple projects worth over 1,800 crore rupees. These development initiatives will help in improving infrastructure in Varanasi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the International Cooperation and Convention Centre, Rudraksh, where he will inaugurate Akhil Bharatiya Shiksha Samagam on implementation of the National Education Policy. Mr. Modi will also inaugurate Akshay Patra Midday Meal Kitchen at LT College in Varanasi, which has a capacity of cooking midday meals for around 1 lakh students. In the last 8 years, the Prime Minister has put a lot of focus on infrastructure development in Varanasi. This has resulted in the transformation of the landscape of the city and enhanced ease of living for the people. In Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath's government has completed 100 days of its second term today. The Chief Minister shared the achievements of his government during the period at a press conference in Lucknow today. He said 97 promises out of the 132 made in the Lok Kalyan Sankalp Patra of the party during elections have been fulfilled in just 100 days. He said his government worked on every front during this period. Yogi Adityanath said there was a crisis of identity for the state before 2017 and the state was lacking in implementation of the central government schemes. He said his government changed the perception and image of Uttar Pradesh, and that is why investment is now coming to the state and development is reaching new heights.
Union Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, today inaugurated state-of-the-art technology innovation hub on autonomous navigation Tihan facility to develop unmanned ground and aerial vehicles in the IIT Hyderabad campus. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said the vision of Tihan IITH is to become a global player for the next generation smart mobility technologies, and the Ministry of Science and Technology has come forward to support this initiative. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs has said that no hotels or restaurants can add service charge automatically or by default in the food bill. In this regard, the Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, has issued guidelines for preventing unfair trade practices and violation of consumer rights. The guidelines highlighted that the collection of service charge will not be done by any other name. It said a hotel or a restaurant cannot force a consumer to pay service charge and will clearly inform the consumer that service charge is voluntary, optional and at consumer's discretion. The ministry said the consumer may lodge a complaint against the violator, hotel or restaurants on the National Consumer Helpline NCH by calling 1915 or its NCH mobile app. The ministry also highlighted that the consumer might also file a complaint against unfair trade practices with the Consumer Commission through eDakhil portal www.edakhil.nic.in for its speedy redressal.
More than 197 crore 98 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far. India's active caseload currently stands at over 1,13,000 and it is at 0.26%. The recovery rate stands at 98.53%. In Himachal Pradesh, at least 12 people were killed and 3 were injured as a private bus fell into a deep gorge near Jangla village at Sanj Valley in Kulu district this morning. President Ramnath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chief Minister Jairam Thakur have expressed grief at the death of several persons, including students, in the accident. Mr. Modi has approved an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from PM's National Relief Fund for the next of kin of those who lost their lives. The injured would be given 50,000 rupees each. Jairam Thakur announced an ex gratia of 5 lakh rupees to the next of kin of the deceased, whereas 15,000 rupees would be provided as immediate relief to each injured person. He said free treatment would also be given to the injured persons.
Union Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Sports and Youth Affairs, Anurag Singh Thakur today said India should focus on creating state-of-the-art sports infrastructure, sports science and research centers and promote a healthy competition among athletes in its quest to become a sports superpower. He was addressing a function organized by the Sports Authority of India to honor Yesteryear international sportspersons in Calicut today. The Union Minister said the government is coming out with national youth and sports policies and invited public suggestions for its consideration. About 38 former athletes, including Olympian P.T. Usha, Jobby Matthew, Tom Joseph and footballer K.P. Sethumadhavan were among those honoured by the Minister on the occasion. In the women's cricket, India thrashed Sri Lanka by 10 wickets in the second match of the 3-match ODI series at Pallikele today.
In cricket, India have set a target of 378 for the England in final game of the 5-match test series at Edgbaston in Birmingham. India finished their second innings with 245 runs on board, and with a first innings lead of 132 runs, they put a challenging 378-run target for the England in the fourth innings. Close to 150 overs remaining in this test, a result is definitely on the cards. Chasing the target, England were 119 for 3 when reports last came in. The Sensex and the Nifty today lodged gains. Both stock indices climbed amid mixed global cues. The Sensex closed 53,200 points, while the Nifty was settled above 15,800 level. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex gained 327 points to finish at 53,235. The Nifty was up 83 points to settle at 15,835. In the forex market, the rupee appreciated 9 paise against the US dollar. Domestic currency closed at 78 rupees and 95 paise against the American unit. Gold prices gained 325 rupees at the multi-commodity exchange for August contracts. The precious metal was trading at 52,100 rupees per 10 grams. Silver prices also climbed 60 rupees to 57,800 rupees per kilogram for July contracts when reports last came in. And global crude oil prices climbed more than 1%. In the intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $113.10 per barrel. Nishit Kumar for AIR News.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Minimum temperature will be around 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 35 degrees. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 31 degrees. Kolkata will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature will be around 28 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 34 degrees. Chennai will have thunderstorm with rain. Minimum temperature will be 28 degrees Celsius and maximum of 35 degrees. Srinagar and Jammu will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Muzaffarabad will have thunderstorm with rain. Leh and Gilgit will have a partly cloudy sky. Hyderabad and Thiruvananthapuram will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Digital India empowered people by making technology more accessible, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Launches Digital India Bhashini to provide easy access to internet and digital services in Indian languages. Prime Minister unveils bronze statue of freedom fighter Alluri Sitaram Raju on his 125th birth anniversary celebrations in Andhra Pradesh, says tribal art and skills getting new identity through Skill India mission. Home Minister Amit Shah says despite challenges, the cooperative movement in the nation went from strength to strength. Notification for filing the nomination for 16th Vice Presidential election to be issued tomorrow. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde assures Legislative Assembly to reduce value-added tax on fuel. India becomes third largest startup ecosystem in the world within a span of 6 years, says Union Minister Piyush Goyal. Government hands over Neelachal Ispat Nigam Limited to Tata Steel Long Products Limited. India's merchandise export rise by 16.8% to $37.9 billion in last month. In the women's cricket, India trounced Sri Lanka by 10 wickets in second match of 3-match ODI series at Pallekhele. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.